Hi everybody, it's David Fleming here from the Toronto Realty Group, and welcome back to this week's Pick 5. Now, you want to live downtown, but you don't want to live in a condo. You don't want to live in a high-rise, that is, or really even a low-rise. You don't want to live in what we would call an apartment-style condo. You want to live in a house, but houses come with challenges, especially in Toronto, where a lot of the original housing stock, while beautiful in nature and Victorian in architecture, are full of problems. This is why you should look for a townhouse. Now, the word townhouse itself is so incredibly overused. You could have townhouses that are 150 years old. And as you look in other cities, whether it's in Canada or North America in general, you will see the word townhouse used in all kinds of different ways that don't really apply to what we're talking about today. What I am talking about today are condo townhouses, or townhouses that are essentially freehold in nature with a condo element. Now, when I look at condo townhouses, of course, we're going to look at location. We're going to look at size. We're going to look at number of beds and baths. But the things that I look for, in addition to saying, is this a freehold with a condominium element, or is this actually a condominiumized complex? I look to see what the outdoor space is like, because some of these have incredible rooftop terraces and others have absolutely no outdoor space. I look at the parking, because some of these will have a built-in garage, like what you would expect in a freehold. Others have an underground parking garage that's part of a massive tower, because many of the time we see towers and then you've got a row of condos, townhouses that are built in front of them, and you share amenities with the rest of the building. Now, I would also look at the number of stairs. Of course, you're looking for a house. Houses typically have sets of stairs, but how many? And do you have to go up a flight of stairs the minute you walk in your door? Do you have to go up a separate flight of stairs to get to your laundry? The layout is very important. And last but not least, well, that leads into my next point, the layout itself. So let's take a look at the map here. And as you can see, I have 5 properties. I'm going to remove the schools icon. Why are we looking at schools? Okay, so we've got 2 over on the east side. We have 1 in what looks like Queen West, 1 a little bit further out of Queen West, we'll call it King West. And then we've got 1 over here towards Ronces. So let's go to our table view. We'll see the 5 properties. We have Shank, which of course is a great name because that's what you make in jail. You take a toothbrush, you sharpen it, and it becomes a shank. No, okay, you haven't seen Oz? Fine. It's a great show. Now you've got Shank, Niagara, you've got Queen, you've got Florence. I wonder if she brought the machine. It's a band, Florence the Machine. I had to specify because if some of you didn't understand what I was talking about, it might be considered weird. And last but not least, you have Percy, which was the name of the kid in grade 1 that you made fun of. Oh my God, you're on fire today. So 42A Shank, Unit A. I might revise this. Now, I have clients in this complex. I've always liked it. I like the location. And in fact, why don't we do that first? We'll take a look at the location. So as you can see, where the 949.9K is written, we're in between King and Queen, and we're just outside of West Queen West. We're north of Liberty Village, which they call King West Village over here for some reason. So we're essentially just off of King Street in what I would call a quieter pocket as far as downtown goes. Now you've got a few condos being developed and a few new condos in around this area. The infrastructure's decent. Living downtown, it's always like, well, where are you going to get groceries and that sort of thing? You're a very quick walk up to Trinity Bellwoods Park, and you have, as I mentioned, between King and Queen, the benefit of being sort of King West and Queen West. Now, layout, let's take a look. Kitchen, living, dining on the main, 2 bedrooms on the lower. I've never really minded this model. I mean, I went to bed last night and it was freezing, and that's because my wife left the window open and it was raining. But at the end of the day, what's really the difference between that and being 1 level below grade? I don't really care. What I was leading into, and then I kind of switched gears, but no, I'm going to tell you, I sleep in the basement a lot. It's because our kids always wander in the middle of the night and come into bed. We're those parents. I never thought I would be. But yeah, I'm not going to lie to you guys. I have slept in the basement for like 8 nights in a row. So no, I don't really care the fact that these bedrooms are in the basement. And you know what? Maybe you don't have 2 kids and you don't want to be kicked out of your bed every single night, because probably if you're living downtown, you're in that window. So this is somewhat entry level. The ones that we're going to look at later are substantially bigger and better. But that is a wood burning fireplace. That is something that is exceptionally hard to find. I would absolutely love that. So we'll call this a starter, if you will. And I thought about trying to put everything in and around the same price point, but you know what? That wouldn't be that imaginative. So we're starting here, obviously, and we're going to go up big time in price. So I like the staging. I like the presentation. Again, you've got your formal living, your formal dining. You've got your kitchen. All on one level, obviously. Below grade, you've got the 2 bedrooms. This is a 3 bathroom. So you have 3, right? This I've always liked. Little eat-in kitchen at the front. So you have your 3 bathrooms. You've got, and you can see this, sorry guys, I'm interrupting myself. This is below grade, but it's half grade. Because when you walk up the flight of stairs to your main floor, yeah, you're half up a level. Here, if you're looking off to the side and the shot is only capturing a little bit of it, here you're only half below grade. So you've got this silly little kind of walkout here to a nothing, a Juliet, but you're not fully basement level here. So when you see lower, the bedrooms are on the lower level, people are like, oh, I don't want to be like David who sleeps in the basement because his kids rule his life. No, this is like a half grade. It's not the end of the world. So like the little barn door that they've done here, here you can see the ensuite. Before I interrupted myself earlier, I was going to say it is a 3 bathroom. You've got 2 down below and one of them's an ensuite, and then you've got a little powder room. So this is a great shot here, if for only the reason that it allows me to talk about the location before we were on Google Maps. These are the townhouses. These are between King and Queen. And then you've got, obviously, down here, this massive congestion, which is Liberty Village. And then you've got, as I mentioned, some of the newer builds that are in and around here. So King Street here, you can't really see Queen Street, but this is the area. This is King West. This is an entry-level townhouse, beautiful red brick. I love the look and feel of these. There are much bigger models, but they're certainly not priced at $949,900. That is starter, that is entry level. And let's take a scroll down here, guys. See this? Offers anytime with 24-hour irrevocable. The other thing I'm very curious to know is, are we holding back offers on these? Because the market overall is kind of weak. The condo market certainly is weak. You'll be shocked at the number of ones that are holding back offers. One more thing I want to say. This says 1,270 square feet. This says 600. So if you were looking at it and you saw 600 and you're like, I don't understand 949, that's wild. That's something I might fix. I'm not going to email the listing agent because at the end of the day, no good deed goes unpunished. Okay, so Shank. All right. Next we have 208 Niagara, Townhouse 82. I happen to have another client in this complex. Not bragging, just making the point. I have been there before. They bought, I want to say, for $1.1 million, maybe 3 or 4 years ago. Now, this is a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom layout. The last one was a 2-bedroom, 3-bathroom layout. And you have here, as you can see, a very, very similar square footage. But scroll down, we'll get exact square footage. This is 1,340. The other one was 1,270. And it has, check this out, a 450 square foot private rooftop terrace. Now, getting ahead of ourselves here, but take a look. Offers gratefully accepted May 13th. They say it again here, and then it says seller will consider strong preemptive offer. Now, when I sold to my clients in this building, there was an offer date, but mind you, that was 2021, I want to say, maybe even 2022. I don't know that we're in the market for the underlist and hold back strategy, but we'll flag this one and then we'll see what ends up happening. So not as sexy from the outside, or at least I really like that red brick look and feel. These ones have never been as pretty. Once you get on the inside, maybe that's what really matters, is what's on the inside. You'll start to see. So stairs, a lot of them. I mentioned that earlier. I don't love all the different levels of stairs in these townhouses, but this layout is a little bit more conducive than, let's say, the last one. So you've got your living dining combo. It's a corner unit, lots of windows. You've got an open concept kitchen here. So this is kind of funny because it looks like you've got 2 tables. No, that's your dining table, and this just happens to be the breakfast bar in what is a very, very big kitchen. So overall, a little bit more renovated than the last one. And as I mentioned, this one's not as pretty from the outside, but it's definitely nicer on the inside. The other one, of course, had the below grade bedrooms. I don't know if I would have chosen the green in here, but that's okay. And here we go. We start to go upstairs. These look like they were original and just painted white. Totally fine. But let's take a look. So here's our washer dryer. And sorry, guys, if I'm scrolling too much, but you can already start to see, like, oh, another set of stairs. Right. Okay, bedrooms. The most unsexy thing in the world to me are bedroom photos. They all look the same. Then you've got 3 beds. You've got the kids' bed. You've got what's turned into the office TV room here. Sad little couch across from the TV. But let's get up. Very nice reno there. And a skylight. Ooh, should put that on my list. Let's get up to here. So to me, this is what differentiates, Townhouse 1 from Townhouse 2, proverbially and literally here, because this is the second one we're looking at. You've got this nice outdoor space. So the knock on this, I would say, is that, well, if you want to cook up there, you're like, I forgot the mustard, and you have to go down 3 flights of stairs. Or you want to take something from your kitchen and you just installed new runners and you're dripping sauce and maybe blood from the steak. I mean, you're more careful than I am. And it's not like that was a close personal friend of mine's house. But I think she might have been so drunk that she didn't remember who actually ruined the new runners. Yeah, it's amazing I don't have any friends. Okay, so this is partially a true story. The locker underground, the parking spaces you can see. This is the party room. So I mentioned you want to consider, some of these do have a garage. This is just your basic underground parking system. And some of these share amenities with the larger buildings, the condos around the way, which this one clearly does. I can't remember the... is it 954 King or 1,000 King? So this, I think it's 1,000 King shares. I probably should know that offhand, but long day, folks. So I believe it's the condo on the north side, 1,000 King West, and this shares amenities with that. So overall, as I said, it's got an offer date. That's interesting. It's a 3-bed, 2-bath. It has not as nice an exterior. It has a much more functional layout on the inside. It doesn't have the 2 below grade bedrooms, and we'll see what they end up with. So I didn't show you the location there on Niagara because it is so close in proximity to the one that we just looked at on Shank, but I will show you this one over here on Queen. So this one is in Queen East, well, King and Queen East basically, because as you can see here, they're pretty close together. So call this the West Don Lands, call it Corkdown, call it King East, call it the Canary District, whatever you want. I have no idea what Trefan Court is, but you have to think Google's smarter than all of us, so clearly they know. But this is on Queen Street. There's not a ton around there specifically. I would say more of the infrastructure in this area is down on King and even towards Adelaide and Eastern Front. You're getting down into the new developments, the West Don Lands. All those new condos on what are the names of the streets? Not Baseball Place, that's on the other side, but let me just show you down here. All the condos down here in the Cherry area by Cherry in front, they've got infrastructure in the base of them. So if you're saying, where do I take my dry cleaning? Where do I get my Starbucks? And then there's a bike tuning place and there's a restaurant. All of these new buildings, because people don't want to live in the main floor, they've got all that infrastructure. So yes, you've got a ton of condos around here, but you've also got all that infrastructure that's walking distance. So if you were on Queen West, you'd be like, there's my infrastructure, my shops and restaurants and stuff I'm going to frequent. Here in Queen East, you're like, oh, perfect. There's the shelters and the hangouts for the derelicts and the stuff like that. Yeah, I would not be walking from here necessarily through to your good friend Moss Park. But the unit itself, great, love it. I like the building. This says 2008. We've got the red brick exterior. It's very cute. It fits in with the area. And this one is that classic freehold with the condominium element. You can tell, at least from a listing standpoint, because they show you measurements, 18 by 23. They'll be very wide for a semi and very short and little stubby if this was a traditional home. So we are a 3-bed, 3-bath, as you can tell this time. 3-bed downstairs, 3-piece downstairs, a 5-piece upstairs, and then another 3-piece up top. So 3 bedrooms. This is 1099. It's been on the market for 43 days. You can already start to see we're probably gonna have a rooftop terrace up here. Very cute little complex, right? So this is where I'm saying you wanna live downtown. This building here, for example, it's stuccoed over top, but I'm willing to bet that this is at least 1920s. So if you wanna live downtown, you don't want to be in a building per se. You don't want that condo apartment style. You want a home, but you really don't want the upkeep. This is the kind of thing that I would look at. I'm really making a good sales pitch for this. So on the inside, maybe it's a little bit dated, but let's take a look at the space. Not a lot here from a staging standpoint, but perhaps it was tenanted. So living, dining, kitchen, not huge here. I think you're gonna have more stairs, but this to me, dynamite location, just a bit in need of some TLC. I'm actually going shortly to show a house in Leaside, which has a great location, great beds, bath, square footage, great layout. You know where I'm going with this? Checks the boxes, has our family room, has our parking. What is it missing? It's missing the finishes, but that's good because my clients can afford it. That house is absolutely perfect for them because it's got everything they want except it's ugly as Sometimes that's what you have to do. Now, if they had an unlimited budget, I'm sure that they could afford a better version of that house, maybe even a newer one. But for them specifically, they need to make a compromise. And I would say don't compromise on location. Don't compromise on the square footage, the layout, the size of the bedrooms and bathrooms. Compromise on the finishes. You can always replace a countertop or flooring. Now, the reason I told that long story is because this one is very similar. This is a lot of square footage. It's a real house. It is a 3-bed. It is a 3-bath. It's got a deep basement. This is not like the ones that we just saw. This is infinitely larger in terms of square footage, beds, baths, and it's got the rooftop terrace. That's huge. So I think this is a really good opportunity. It's been sitting on the market. Maybe the price is negotiable. Don't tell the listing agent I told you that. But I love the look from the outside, right? We're $1,099,000, 43 days in the market, 3-bed, 3-bath, built in 2008. Check this out, attached garage. This is going to feel a lot like a house. You just need to put some TLC into it. Okay, so now we're going to get into some, I don't say bigger, better. This one was interesting to me. Florence and her machine. 119 Florence, $1,299,000. Let's scroll down. Offer date. Offers reviewed on Monday, May 12th. Register at 1 p.m. Seller reserves the right to view preemptive offers. Guys, am I crazy? Or is $1.3 million with an offer date a lot? Now, you can see here, $169.16 a month for association fee. What this is what we call the parcel of tied land. When you have all these townhouses together and they're all built in the same complex, who's shoveling the snow? Who's salting the walkway? Who's repairing the roof? It's got a condominium element to it. So if you were to go into a typical, I don't know, row of Victorians, yeah, they're attached. You don't have to have that condominium element to them, but when they've been built in the last 20 years and not in the late 1800s, they most certainly do. So only 22 photos in this one. It's a 3-bed, 3-bath from the outside. It's got that kind of red brick that I like. This one's much, much more polished. So it's also a different location, which I'll show you. On the inside, it's a bit busy and it's a bit particular. And we've got our little music station here. Nice collection of vinyl. When I eventually buy a record player, or turntable as they're called, that's how I'll know I'm having a midlife crisis. I mean, there's a lot of things you could do to justify your midlife crisis, or not justify, to suggest that you're having one. But when I buy my cross turntable and start putting records on at night, that's going to be a real moment in time for me. So, like this guy's collection of vinyl, I think I just want to collect it, really. As I mentioned, 3-bed, 3-bath feels a lot like a house, a home. But as we get a couple photos away, one more bedroom photo, and I'll show you, this is what you get with a lot of these. This feels a little bit more like suburbia. Hey, yeah, we've got our little outdoor terrace as opposed to the rooftop. But then, and I'll show you in the next photo, this is a huge differentiator to me. This makes it feel like a home. This is not your typical condo townhouse that is part of a larger building complex and then you've got underground parking and you share all the amenities and you've got the gym from the guy on the 30th floor and you're in your little condo town sharing the same amenities. No, this is a standalone block of effectively freehold properties that, you know, happen to have a condominium element to them. So location-wise, let me scroll down and I will show you, right? This is the one that we mentioned, just north of the train tracks, of course, where you want to be, but call this Little Portugal, call this Beaconsfield Village, right? A little bit north of, I'm going to go here, right? This is in Parkdale. This is in kind of prime Queen West, Trinity Bellwoods. That's where we started on Shank. So make the location what you want of it, but to me, an offer date, wow, that felt a little bit optimistic. Now, speaking of optimistic, I cannot tell you how many times I have seen this home in my 21-year career. I actually looked back, and why don't we start there? I'm going to show you, and I only went back to 2016. Okay, 2B Percy, 2B or not 2B Percy, 2D, 2B, 2C, 2C, 2A, 2A. So these have been on the market a lot. And, you know, here's an example, $1,399,000 sold for $1,615,000. These are, to me, absolutely phenomenal properties. But depending on the market, yeah, they sell, they don't, right? 2A Percy was on the market at $1,675,000, was reduced $1,595,000, sold for $1,485,000. And you can see there's a mix of listings that have sold and listings that haven't. And if we want to click back even further, you know, it just kind of, well, then you see 5B. So that's the one down the way. It's a private laneway, Percy Street. I sold to a client not too long ago. Such a cool house. Was looking for a condo and ended up getting this freehold. Absolutely amazing find. Really, really like that block. Those are original cottages from like late 1800s. These obviously are built, you know, 15 years ago. So we'll go back to B or not to B. You can see here before I do that, $1,499,000 sold $1,435,000, and that was when? 2019. So now here we are, 2019. So the market goes up, the market comes down. We're $1,399,999. And let's take a look. Is there an offer date? Oh, yes. Offers presented Wednesday, May 14th at 6 p.m. Register offer no later than 5 p.m. You know, pretty aggressive in terms of registration, but I love these. These are phenomenal. We've got, check this out, a patio, 323 square feet, rooftop terrace, 117. We're 3-bed, 3-bath. We're built-in garage. And these, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, share amenities with 549 King or 569 King or 510 King. You know that complex? Guys, it's been a long day. No, you want to know, 510 King's on the north side? This would be 549 King. So look at these from the outside. Absolutely beautiful. These are houses. These are houses. These look to me like, I'm going to make that comparison, something in New York. A brownstone, except this isn't really brown. A newer version of those sexy, older, vintage properties in Manhattan. I don't know where else you could find something like this. So I have, between 2A, 2B, 2C, and 2D, been in these things, no exaggeration if I had to guess, I'd say 7 or 8 times in my 21 years. I've never had somebody buy one. I don't know why that is. These are beautiful. I think I was in this one in 2019. I really do. And I think my clients ended up buying Inspire. So they did buy up top, but it was just a lot of stairs and it just didn't sort of have that flow that they were looking for. So to each their own. Those particular clients wanted all one level, wanted maintenance free, at the end of the day, wanted the concierge and the benefits of having a condo. This to me is the buyer that's not interested in that specifically. They want to have a home. They want stairs. They want different levels. I'm going up 2 bed, you would say. I'm not going down the way 2 bed, down around the corner, because I live in a 1-level apartment. It's got a nice little outdoor space, as you can see. This is kind of a backyardy feel. I absolutely love these. Really great job staging this, by the way. And you can see we're upstairs, and now we've got a 3rd level too. So I'll show you, once we get a little bit further along, what the flow looks like here. There are a lot of stairs, no doubt. And we've got this development out in Port Credit, the lake house. One of the critiques we get is a lot of older folks are looking at it and they're like, where's the elevator? Now, an elevator really, in addition to like, I don't know, I'm not going to lie, but I would be a little afraid of getting stuck in one. Like, what if it just stopped working? Hello? How do I get out? No, but like an elevator in your house, I don't know. There's no one around. It's different when you're in a building. There's a button to press. So, well, that with the maintenance and the irrational fear, but also just the amount of space that takes up. You can't imagine how much square footage that eats in a home. So maybe we missed the mark out there, or maybe that's just people looking for something to complain about. But as we continue through here, I think that the buyer does not, right? And here you can see we're adjacent to that building next door, which is 549 King. The buyer, I don't think, is looking for the elevator. I think specifically the buyer here is a younger couple, right? Or maybe the middle-aged couple. They don't want the upkeep of a home. They want the convenience of a condo with the style of the house. And that's exactly what this is. This thing is absolutely gorgeous. I love it so much. I just wonder if it'll sell via an offer night. Okay, so let's go back here and we'll review, guys. I started at $949. Now, $949 with 2 bedrooms in the basement, lower level, if you will, where David sleeps. Then we went to Niagara, $999 with an offer date. 443D Queen, needs some upkeep, needs some updating, but offers any time. Been on the market 43 days. Great location. Love the look and feel. Needs that TLC element. Florence and her machine, $1,299,000 with an offer date. I don't really know. And again, they've put 0 parking. That does have parking. Same with this one here. And last but not least, to be or not to be on Percy Street, I would say to be. I have already gushed about it, so I'm going to try not to do it anymore. But those are such beautiful townhomes. So moral of the story is, guys, if you're looking to live downtown, but you don't want the upkeep of an old Victorian home, and you don't want to live in a condo, look at something like this. There are the parcel of tied lands, there are the freeholds, there are the condominium units, all very different in size, style, layout, features, age, of course. Some of them share amenities with the condominiums. Some of them have monthly fees. Others have what you call the association fee, $150 a month for snow clearing or what have you. But all of them offering something exceptionally exceptionally different than the next. So folks, that is it. I hope you enjoyed this look at downtown condos, townhouses. Thank you for watching as always, and we will see you next week. Bye for now.